All right, what's up, everybody? So I'm doing. It's a little bit of a departure for this one. I am not like a big Bad Bunny fan, not a reggaeton fan really. So this is not the kind of music I generally listen to. But this is very relevant right now, very important, very timely. I have a friend who I worked with for the last couple of years who is from Puerto Rico. She's back in Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico just got hit by a massive tropical storm. I can't remember, hurricane, cyclone. I know there's different things for different hemispheres. Anyway, really, really huge storm. It's knocked out the power to everybody on the island. I texted her this morning and she confirmed that there is no power in Puerto Rico, basically anywhere. Her and her family are safe, but this Bad Bunny song, this is a long video. This is 20 minutes plus. Okay, so that's very much a departure for me as well. I don't tend to do things that are this long. But I saw somebody posting about it yesterday, and I know that he's talking about Puerto Rico in this song, right? And in this video. This is like a little mini documentary. And so I thought I should do it. I thought this would be worth doing right now. We don't think a lot about Puerto Rico as Americans, I think. A lot of people forget that it's Puerto Ricans are American citizens, but they have no voting rights. They have no real, they are American citizens, but they don't have the same rights as American citizens in many cases. It's really a mess. Should Puerto Rico be a state? Should they be independent? Should they be no longer part of the U.S.? There's debates about that. And in the aftermath of a tragedy, like what's happening with Fiona, are they going to get the same sort of support that a United States state would get? And, we'll see. People online are saying that they should be made a state so that they'll get the same kind of support. But Louisiana didn't really recover from Hurricane Katrina. They didn't really get the kind of support they needed, so that's not necessarily a guarantee. Anyway, we'll get into that later. This is El Apagón, AQUI VIVE GENTE by Bad Bunny, and it's a mini documentary and a music video. So we'll get into it here in just a second. Before we go, I'm not a professional. I'm not a vocal coach. I'm not an expert. And my Spanish is not great. So we'll see. I got captions on. Hopefully some of it's in English. We'll just have to see. I haven't watched it yet, right? I try to do this stuff fresh. Part 2, don't be a dick. If you don't like this, listen, I may not like the song itself. I'm going to be upfront about that because this is not a style of music that I generally listen to. But I try to be very respectful and very thoughtful. And I think that beyond just the song, I think that this video is worth seeing and worth discussing. So we're gonna watch that together. Anyway, don't be a dick, right? If you're gonna leave a comment, I'm happy to have the comments. Just let's try to keep it civil and friendly. All right. Got my coffee. I'm probably gonna run out of coffee before this video's over, but I got water over here too. So let's get right into it. This is Bad Bunny with El Apagón, AQUI VIVE GENTE. And let's just watch this.
Nosotros nos sale natural ser leyenda. Porque al final no hay orgullo más grande en cada logro que el de decir yo soy de P fucking R.
Con mucho cariño para todos ustedes.
Puerto Rico está bien cabrón, ey, está bien cabrón. De Carolina sale el reggaetón y los hijueputas de Bayamón. Ey, ey, quieren montarse en la ola y no han ido a Rincón. Un besito pa' abuela en el balcón, cogiendo todos los hoyos en la Rubicón. P fucking R, ey, tierra de Maelo y Teo Calderón. Y de Barea, el que fue campeón, primero que LeBron.
Puerto Rico sigue sufriendo apagones que dejan a decenas de miles sin luz. Esta explosión dejó a todo Puerto Rico a oscuras en abril. Y en agosto, uno de los hospitales principales del país estuvo casi 20 horas sin electricidad. Todo esto después de que la distribución de energía en Puerto Rico pasara a manos de una compañía privada. El gobierno le otorgó un contrato multimillonario a una compañía de Estados Unidos y Canadá llamada Luma Energy y le prometieron al pueblo que el servicio sería mejor. Pero según las métricas del mismo gobierno, ahora los apagones son más largos. El resultado es estudiantes que hacen sus asignaciones a oscuras, en seres dañados y personas que no pueden conectar su equipo médico en casa. A la vez, el pueblo puertorriqueño ha visto 7 aumentos consecutivos en la factura de luz, mientras que los ejecutivos de Luma cobran salarios nunca antes vistos en la Corporación Eléctrica de Puerto Rico. Y hay gente que está perdiendo la paciencia y protestando en las calles.
Maldita sea, otro apagón.
Okay, I don't speak a lot of Spanish, and I'm a little bit nervous about the rest of this video. There's 20 more minutes, and I don't speak Spanish really at all. But I do know what she's talking about there. So Puerto Rico, because of the loving kindness of the United States, privatized their entire electrical system. So their entire electrical grid in Puerto Rico is run by one company. Now, interestingly, in the United States, we're supposed to be anti-monopoly, but let's not worry about that. It's privatized, right? So it's now a for-profit, private industry, the electric grid in Puerto Rico. And would you believe there have been problems with that? There have been big, big problems with that. And they privatized their electrical grid because of pressure from the United States. So let's carry on.
Vamos pa' los bleachers a prender un blon. Antes que a Pipo le dé un bofetón. Puerto Rico está bien cabrón. Ey, está bien cabrón. Puerto Rico está bien cabrón. Ey, pichea Maldiva. Yo me quedo en Palomino. Ey, si no me voy pa' redes. Un saludo a mis vecinos. Ey, aquí el calor es diferente. El sol está ahí, no. Ey, la capital del perreo. Ahora todos quieren ser latinos. No, ey, pero le falta sazón. Batería y reggaetón. Ey, cuido con mi corillo que somos un montón. Ey, le falta sazón. Batería y reggaetón. Ey, cuido con mi corillo que somos un montón. Welcome to the calentón.
Creo que el público sabe que esto es una cosa más o menos informal.
Yo no me quiero ir de aquí, no me quiero ir de aquí. Que se vayan ellos, que se vayan ellos, que se vayan ellos, que se vayan ellos. Lo que me pertenece a mí, se lo quedan ellos, que se vayan ellos. Esta es mi playa, este es mi sol, esta es mi tierra, esta soy yo. Esta es mi playa, este es mi sol, esta es mi tierra, esta soy yo.
Están desplazando al boricua nativo de aquí.
Ajá, con la famosita carta de los 30 días y toma y te tienes que ir.
¿Y ahora para dónde cojo? Y si lo que me cobran allí donde yo puedo no me va a dar con lo que yo me gano.
Lo que pasa es que lo que hay es unos grandes intereses aquí.
Y está pasando en Puerto Rico completo.
Y vamos a ser extranjeros en nuestra propia patria.
Tenemos que movernos, dama, porque cuando los de abajo se mueven, los de arriba se caen.
Vamos, chicos, a hablar menos y a comer con calma. Sírvanse que ustedes son visitas, ustedes...
Yo hace tiempo no comía esto. Dios le bendiga este sabor.
Amén.
Esto es Puerto Rico. Pero la vida aquí no es igual para todos. Están quienes llegan con ventajas y beneficios. Y están quienes llevan aquí toda una vida y ahora sienten que les quieren sacar. Y quitarles lo que les pertenece. Pero también están quienes crearon estas condiciones. Y quienes tienen el poder para cambiarlas.
Esa me la dejaron enganchada en la puerta. Te deben desalojar y entregar la posición de las instalaciones dentro de 30 días. Gracias por el tiempo y le deseamos lo mejor.
Maricusa llegó a Puerto Rico de su natal República Dominicana en los 90.
Limpio, cocino, lavo, plancho, todo lo que está relacionado a la casa, cuenta conmigo, porque a mí me gusta y disfruto lo que hago.
Lleva casi 26 años alquilando un apartamento en este edificio en Santurce.
Aquí dormía mi hija con su hijo pequeño, con Christopher.
Pero en mayo le dieron una carta avisándole que se tenía que ir, porque el edificio tenía nuevo dueño.
Yo le dije, bueno, yo me voy a ir, pero cuando yo consiga un sitio donde yo pueda quedarme con lo necesario y enviar esa mudanza. Y en pocas palabras me dijo, bueno, como es tanta cosa que usted tiene aquí, bótela. Como para presionar a que uno salga corriendo, al menos yo lo que estaba pagando no era suficiente para yo cubrir, y el que yo estar aquí lo estaba haciendo perder dinero. Porque si pago 600 pesos, aparece un loco que da 2.500. Y él dijo que esto se iba a alquilar a 2.500.
El ingreso medio de un hogar en Puerto Rico es menos de $1,800 al mes.
Entonces están desplazando al boricua para hacerse ellos ricos a través de lo de aquí, de lo nativo de aquí.
El nuevo dueño del edificio donde vive Maricusa es una compañía que se dedica a la compra y venta de propiedades. Y ya lo está revendiendo por $1.5 millones. En el anuncio dice que solamente acepta ofertas en efectivo y que los inquilinos se pueden ir en 30 días.
Es un abuso. Y ya yo tengo 68 y hay personas mucho mayor que yo que han pasado media vida o medio siglo en ese sitio, que lo saquen impunamente. Eso duele.
Este es el barrio donde yo nací, el rinconcito donde yo viví. Desde mi tatarabuela, mi bisabuela, mi abuela, mi mamá y este servidor nacimos aquí y mis hijos. Yo siempre he dicho que si yo nací en Puerto Tierra, yo quiero morir en Puerto Tierra.
El barrio de Puerta de Tierra es la entrada a la isleta de San Juan. Es donde se encuentra el Capitolio de Puerto Rico y está al lado del famoso Viejo San Juan.
Si tú notas, estamos enfrente a la bahía de San Juan y es privilegiado. Esto es un tesoro aquí para estos millonarios y ricos.
Pero este no siempre fue un lugar codiciado. Puerta de Tierra fue donde vivieron las personas esclavizadas luego de obtener su libertad, porque la clase alta quiso mantenerlos fuera de las murallas de San Juan. Y eventualmente los arrabales se convirtieron en residenciales públicos. Pero en las últimas 2 décadas, el gobierno de Puerto Rico ha eliminado unas 1,000 unidades de vivienda pública para familias de bajos recursos.
¿Dónde estamos ahora mismo? ¿Cómo se llama esto?
Esto es el condominio Las Acacias, Puerta de Tierra, donde yo me crié.
Los residenciales públicos son el corazón de Puerta de Tierra. Si nos sacan, muere Puerta de Tierra. Si sacan los residenciales públicos, muere Puerta de Tierra. Yo viví ahí 54 años, viví en esa esquina. Mira lo que hay ahora. Un edificio, un caserío nuevo para riquitos, donde yo nací, donde yo no puedo entrar. Porque como somos negros y pobres, pues están abusando de nosotros, ¿sabes? Y no es justo ser desplazado por los grandes intereses. A ellos les interesan que nosotros nos vayamos. No, si nosotros nacimos ahí, que se vayan ellos. Pero mira lo único que nos han regalado estos inversionistas aquí, millonarios, el duérmete, nene. Duérmete, niño, duérmete ya. que pronto te sacamos de tu comunidad.
Yo vivía por ahí, por ese pasillo, al final, a la mano derecha.
Laura Mía González vivía en este edificio de apartamentos privados, hasta que en el 2019 le llegó una carta anunciando que el edificio tenía nuevo dueño y se tenía que ir en 30 días.
Bueno, en ese momento me sentí frustrada, primero porque había personas que llevaban casi 30 años viviendo allí, ¿verdad? Y cuando tú llevas ya 30 años viviendo en el mismo lugar, tú creas unas relaciones con la comunidad.
Del edificio de la ferretería se tuvieron que ir 21 familias.
Tú no puedes llegar aquí con mentalidad de colonizador pensando que aquí no vive gente o que la gente que vivía, pues mira, tú las puedes despachar con una carta de desahucio y que consigan a dónde irse a vivir.
Laura Mía pagaba $300 al mes por su apartamento. Hoy día las unidades del edificio de la ferretería se alquilan a corto plazo por $150 la noche.
Nadie está diciendo que no está haciendo un buen negocio. Es un negocio, mira, redondo y más si no paga casi contribuciones.
Puerto Rico, where I'm from, is becoming an increasingly popular place to move among wealthy Americans.
It's the tax incentives that make Puerto Rico very appealing, specifically Act 22.
And crucially, the island has become a tax haven for the wealthy.
En Puerto Rico hay una ley que le permite a los extranjeros no pagar ciertos impuestos cuando se mudan aquí. Se llama la Ley 22, que ahora es parte de la Ley 60. Y gracias a esta ley, cuando una persona se muda a Puerto Rico, no paga nada de impuestos por las ganancias de sus inversiones en cosas como acciones, criptomonedas y bienes raíces.
I'm moving to Puerto Rico.
Yeah. It's like the only place you can live with 0% capital gains.
Actualmente hay más de 3,000 personas que se benefician de esta ley. Ese beneficio, sumado a los bajos precios de las propiedades luego del huracán María, para algunos significó una oportunidad.
Puerto Rico is an absolute gold mine for real estate investing.
Oh my gosh, the tax advantages.
Why Puerto Rico is the best place for you to buy real estate in 2022.
El nuevo dueño del edificio de la ferretería es un beneficiario de la Ley 22. Shahin Mayor Hassan ha comprado 15 propiedades en Puerta de Tierra. Pero él no ha sido el único. Desde el 2018, 8 beneficiarios de la Ley 22 han comprado por lo menos 28 propiedades en el barrio.
Bueno, yo le digo invasores colonizadores porque ellos se comportan como tal. Claro, el gobierno de Puerto Rico le ha puesto el país en bandeja de plata.
Entre las 28 propiedades que compraron los beneficiarios de la Ley 22 está lo que antes era una escuela pública.
Mi escuela, aquí fue donde yo aprendí a leer. Aquí yo me pasaba jugando con Bicosí, sexto grado, Miss Martínez, que era mi tía, la hermana de mi mamá. Allí, sexto grado.
La Martín G. Bromba es una de las más de 600 escuelas que el gobierno de Puerto Rico ha cerrado en los últimos 10 años. Ahora esta escuela será un edificio de apartamentos con vista al mar.
A finales de las clases se veían las ballenas que salían a parir. Los maestros nos llevaban a ver ese espectáculo. Cada vez que yo paso por aquí me dan con ganas de llorar. Estoy aguantando las lágrimas, pero...
Muchas de las propiedades que los beneficiarios compran las dedican al turismo. Algunos académicos comparan la economía del turismo con la economía de plantación. Que los Estados Unidos invadiera y tomara posesión de Puerto Rico a finales del siglo XIX permitía a las compañías azucareras estadounidenses apoderarse de la tierra. Contrataban a puertorriqueños como sus empleados y les pagaban salarios bajos que los mantenían en la pobreza. Hoy día Puerto Rico sigue siendo posesión de los Estados Unidos y existe este incentivo que le da ventajas a los estadounidenses y les invita a comprar propiedades en Puerto Rico. Esas propiedades a menudo se convierten en alquileres para turistas, con la promesa de empleos de servicio para la población local. El resultado es un dueño extranjero que acapara las ganancias.
La ley 20 y la ley 22 va a permitir que los gringos vengan a estar especulando sobre nuestra tierra.
Ese ataque, más un ataque desde el punto de vista racial, como se ha dado, o de raza o de clase, es complicado. Sencillamente con decir gringo go home o todo este tipo de cosas, verdaderamente no abona la estabilidad política del país.
Rafael Tatito Hernández es uno de los políticos puertorriqueños que ha recibido donativos de beneficiarios de la Ley 22. En los últimos 3 años, los beneficiarios han donado más de $240,000 a las campañas políticas del gobernador y los líderes de la legislatura de Puerto Rico. El gobernador recibió la gran mayoría del dinero.
A mí me apasiona mucho el tema. Yo vengo desde abajo y sé lo que es venir y caminar a la escuela y ver la situación social de las comunidades y las desventajas. Pero no pueden ser deteniendo el desarrollo.
El mayor donante de las 3 principales figuras políticas es Brian Tenenbaum.
You do Act 22, it's a no-brainer.
La persona que compró la escuela de la comunidad de Puerta de Tierra.
Ellos ven que el gobierno está quitándoles recursos para ponérselos en bandeja de plata a la gente que tiene mucho dinero. ¿Usted no lo ve así?
Sí, no hay duda. El caso de Puerta de Tierra es un caso, si lo analizas y has podido ver a la comunidad por muchos años, ya más de 40 años apagado. Así que esto es una manera de que están renovando de una manera u otra una zona que estaba verdaderamente en una situación bien apremiante. Todavía lo está. Y esto es una cuestión de oferta y demanda. Muchos de ellos son los mismos dueños de la comunidad que le están vendiendo a estos inversionistas.
Pero no es solo la vivienda y las escuelas. El otro recurso que está en juego en Puerto Rico son las playas. Por ley, todas las playas en Puerto Rico son públicas, pero hay quienes creen que se las están quitando al pueblo con construcción o cerrando el acceso, como pasó en el pueblo de Dorado. Dorado cuenta con mansiones y hoteles lujosos frente al mar. Por ley, se supone que haya múltiples accesos a través de esos terrenos privados para que el público pueda llegar a esta costa. Pero en años recientes, los que había se cerraron y ahora la única entrada es por el balneario público.
Si queremos llegar a la playa allá, tenemos que caminar todo eso.
Todo eso. No hay ningún otro acceso.
Rosa Rivera Martínez trabaja limpiando casas en Dorado Beach.
Pero yo creo que donde yo trabajo yo hago un poquito más que limpieza. Le doy un poquito de lo que es el sabor de Puerto Rico.
Pero en sus días libres, Rosa no tiene acceso fácil a la playa que disfrutan sus empleadores.
Los días que no está trabajando, si quisiera ir a esa playa, ¿cómo llega?
Tendría que entrar por aquí.
Rosa y yo empezamos el largo camino para intentar llegar a esta playa, que le llaman West Beach.
Hay gente que dice, pero con tanta playa que hay en Puerto Rico, ¿por qué quieren ir a esa específicamente?
Porque todas son de nosotros. Y no es que queramos solamente decir esto es de los puertorriqueños, queremos compartirlo.
De camino nos encontramos con empleados de Dorado Beach, que nos dijeron lo mismo que la compañía luego reiteró por escrito, que sí, que la playa es pública, pero que para llegar teníamos que caminar por las piedras.
¿Cómo es que yo me tengo que sentir bien el que me digan, sí, tú puedes pasar, pero tienes que pasar por donde te puedes escocotar y reventarte? O sea, me mortifica el que nos tratan como ignorantes o como delincuentes, cuando los que están rompiendo la ley claramente son ellos.
Rosa y yo caminamos 1.3 millas y atravesamos las primeras rocas.
Sí, cuidado ahí. No, me resbalé y me dio miedo.
Pero al acercarnos más, el camino se puso más peligroso.
O sea, la intención era llegar a esa playa, pero yo creo que mejor no, porque
es mucho riesgo.
El acceso es tan difícil que en la práctica West Beach se convierte en una playa privada para quienes compren una de estas residencias, que están en venta por hasta $18 millones.
El ente gubernamental que está llamado a defender lo público, a defender las playas, los parques, etcétera, no lo está haciendo.
Pedro Cardona Roy trabajó en la agencia de gobierno que decide cómo se usan los terrenos en Puerto Rico. Él dice que en Dorado construyeron en terreno que le pertenece al pueblo, porque según el reglamento, los 20 metros de terreno después de la marejada más alta son públicos.
Y esas rocas están dentro del área que es afectada por la marea. El sargazo está llegando justo hasta las rocas.
O sea, que si ahora mismo yo me trepo por esa roca y me paro ahí y me dicen, tú no puedes estar aquí porque es propiedad privada, pero eso no es cierto.
Correcto.
Eso se supone que es parte de la propiedad pública.
Correcto. ¿Por qué no se cumple con esto? Era tu pregunta. Yo creo que la razón principal es el poder que tienen ciertas personas en Puerto Rico.
La compañía que construyó y es codueña de Dorado Beach se llama Prisa Group. En la última década, los directivos de Prisa Group han donado más de $500,000 a las campañas políticas de los 2 partidos principales en Puerto Rico. De esos, más de $200,000 los donó el presidente de la compañía, Federico Stuve Arzuaga.
efecto las cosas dieran una vuelta y se eliminara la ley 22 y se quite ese incentivo para los ricos y millonarios, ¿qué le pasaría a la economía en Puerto Rico?
Lo que vamos a tener un gran gueto en Puerto Rico. Si nosotros queremos pobreza en Puerto Rico, vamos a eliminar eso.
Dorado Beach es donde han comprado o alquilado casas figuras famosas como Logan Paul y Brock Pierce, quienes se mudaron a Puerto Rico por los incentivos. Pero la lucha por las playas no solo se está dando en Dorado.
Una piscina frente de una playa. ¿Qué necesidad hay de eso? Invadiendo el hábitat de tortugas. Esto llora ante los ojos de Dios, corillo.
Eso que nos pertenece a todos, de pronto el condominio Sol y Playa dijo, a mí no me importa que esto sea del pueblo de Puerto Rico, esto yo lo quiero para mí. Y yo voy a hacer una piscina allí, y yo voy a poner una verja.
Las protestas comenzaron. Y el gobierno envió a la policía. Los manifestantes impidieron que continuara la construcción. Salió a relucir que un primo del gobernador, Pedro Pierluisi, era dueño de uno de los apartamentos.
Primero que nada, estás hablando de un primo, tercero, cuarto mío.
El caso fue a corte. El tribunal determinó que el permiso de construcción era ilegal y ordenó la demolición de la verja. Cuando los dueños no lo hicieron, los manifestantes se encargaron. Así como lo hicieron en Rincón, en Puerta de Tierra dicen que resistirán.
Porque si no luchamos ahora y no nos unimos a luchar por nuestro barrio, no solamente Puerta de Tierra, va a ser la isla entera.
Aquí la resistencia va a durar hasta que el corazón aguante. ¿A qué me refiero con eso? Que estoy dispuesta a dejar mi sangre por esta comunidad y por mi gente.
Que se vayan ellos. Esta es mi playa, este es mi sol, esta es mi tierra, esta soy yo.
We are now into the credits. I'm going to go ahead and pause it here. So, a few things. First of all, I switched the video. I usually leave it just on me. I know people often like to watch my reactions, but I wanted people to see the video more than just my face. Plus, if you don't speak Spanish, you can't read the subtitles if they're in a little tiny box. So I wanted to make sure people could see it. Yeah, so gentrification. It's generally a bad thing. Yeah, so a few thoughts, right? First of all, just about the song. I mentioned reggaeton, not usually my jam. I liked this one. I thought it was fun. I heard a lot of reggaeton in the mid-2000s on the radio, and I never really got into it. Like Sean Paul, I never really liked it. But I liked this song. I liked the beat. Bad Bunny, I mean, look, he's the #1 artist in the world, right? Like, he's doing something right. So this one was fun. I enjoyed it. Beyond that, the president, governor, whoever that guy was, when he was talking about Del Tierra, he said, some of the people that are selling are the people from there. And that's true. That's always true. But a lot of times people don't have a real option not to, right? You're not necessarily selling because you want to sell, because you're looking to sell. You're selling because you don't have another choice. I mean, my friend in Puerto Rico, she was telling me that housing prices in some parts of Puerto Rico have like quadrupled in the last few years because of generally Americans. Now, it's not just Americans that are moving there, but it is generally Americans. and rich Americans who want to live in Los Angeles or New York City, but that's too expensive and you can't keep all your money. So we're going to turn this island where all these poor people live, that they don't count, you know, we're going to turn that into our Los Angeles. We're going to build neighborhoods, we're going to build homes, build apartment complexes that remind us of where we wish we were living, really. But we're living here. We've got a beautiful island. We've got beautiful people, cheap labor, and views of the ocean, right? What more could you ask for? And look, I want to visit Puerto Rico. I think it looks beautiful. It is a beautiful place with beautiful people, right? But it's their home. You know, being an American, we talk a lot about liberty and patriotism and, you know, democracy and whatnot. And look, I think freedom is good. I think democracy is generally good. But you know how we got America? Like, do you know why we possess this entire goddamn continent? It's because of genocidal actions taken, I mean, you know, 400 years ago, 300 years ago, 200 years ago, 100 years ago. Still, right? America was not empty when we got here. This land was not up for grabs. It wasn't like the moon, right? There were people living here. There were lots of people living here, and we killed most of them. And then we signed agreements with the rest of them that we'll let you have part of it, just not our part. You guys have to move because we're taking over this neighborhood. But we'll leave you alone. We'll let you have your own land, right? And then we decided that we wanted that land too. And we said, you know what? I know we told you you guys could have this land, but we're taking this land too. But we're going to give you more land. We're going to let you have, listen, you guys are going to have your own spot. We promise. We'll give you your own spot. And then we moved them, right? The Trail of Tears is the famous one, but they were not the only forced relocation of Native Americans. And it was never enough. You know, it's never enough. We just kept telling people to move. And if they weren't going to move voluntarily, then we'll move you with guns. Or we'll kill you. But we'll just put you at the end of a gun and say, you're moving. And that's what's happening in Puerto Rico to a lot of people right now. Right? Those people who have got this, you have 30 days to get out. What are they supposed to do? Right? I talk about this occasionally, but like at the end of the day, the people who suffer are the poor. Where are they supposed to go? Right? Okay, let's say you're making $1,800 a month. Where are you supposed to go now? There's not that much affordable housing, and they're tearing down most of it. And you know what? He said it was slums. And some of that might be true. But the people that lived in those slums, they still exist when the slums are gone. When you tear down the public housing, when you tear down the projects, right? In Chicago right now, they're tearing down O Block. I don't know much about it. I know that Channel 5 did a video where it's, you know, about drill and the music that came out of people who came from O Block or Zero Block. I'm not sure which, actually. I think it's O Block. But the point remains. All right, you tear down the projects. You know what? There's a lot of crime that happens in projects because there's a lot of poor people that live in projects. And the number one indicator for crime is poverty. So, yeah, when you've got a lot of poor people living in one area, there's probably going to be a lot of crime. We know that. We know that from how economics works. But rather than doing anything to take care of the people that live there, rather than trying to help them out, give them a leg up, right? What we're going to do is we're going to blame the buildings for being responsible, right? We're going to tear down the buildings and we're going to replace them. And we're going to replace them with nicer buildings. And isn't that great? Isn't it good to have nicer stuff? Nicer buildings, nicer rooms, you know, beautiful new shiny buildings. It's great. Look, I like a nice shiny building. I like looking at pretty architecture. I'm a fan of it. But those people that lived there, they got to go somewhere. And most people, almost all people who live in complexes like that, they're not living there because they got other options, right? You don't live in the streets unless you can't afford to go somewhere else. So now your home is gone. Your home is demolished, or it's been purchased and refurbished, and now it's being rented out for half of your monthly rent per night. Where are you going to go? Where are you supposed to live? The answer is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because poor people's lives don't matter. That's not my opinion, just for the record. Hopefully that's been clear. But to these people, nothing matters except me and my pocketbook and my bank account, making sure, one, that I don't have to pay the taxes that I owe on my money, because heaven forbid we fund the system that's supposed to exist to take care of everybody, right? At the end of the day, the government, your tax dollars, that money is supposed to go to, like, taking care of the whole country, right? Fixing the roads, obviously paying for the fucking military, fucking assholes. But the more money there is in the tax system, the more money the government has to work with. Yes, there's going to be waste. Absolutely. There will be waste. There will be corruption. There will be problems. It will not all get used where it should go. But the more of it there is, the more of it there is to use for projects that matter, to help people who need it. But because I don't need help, fuck them. I got my money, right? I'm good. All I care about now is making sure that I keep as much of my money as possible. I don't care about those people. I don't even know that those people exist. I don't think about them. A lot of the time, you know, some of these guys are buying their own properties, right? They're doing the buying. They're either going in and negotiating with somebody, or they're buying them remotely. But a lot of the time, you don't know. You never see the people that are there. You never see them, because you're buying it from somebody else who bought it, right? Somebody who kicked out the people that lived there, and they're flipping it. You have no connection. You don't know that. You might not know that there were people there, right? But if you did, you wouldn't care. You're going to give them shitty jobs, right? The fucking, you know, the promise of service industry jobs. Why should they have to have service industry jobs for colonizers, right? There's a lot to say here. I feel like I might start to repeat myself, so I don't want to carry on too long. This video is one of the longest I've done. And I think it's important. I don't know how many people are going to make it this far. If you did make it through the whole video, then thank you for watching. Hopefully something that I had to say or something that's in the video resonated with you. I just have a heart for poor people. I think poor people matter. And poor people aren't dumb, right? A lot of times people equate poverty with, you know, your value as a person. There's a lot of poor immigrants in the United States who had really good jobs, who were fucking lawyers or doctors, or, you know, had advanced degrees in the country they came from. But because they don't speak English, or because they couldn't get a visa, or because, you know, they can't get hired for whatever reason, you got people who are way overqualified, working in kitchens and working as cleaners and working as landscapers. And you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad that we have people to do those jobs. But those jobs deserve dignity. If you didn't have somebody to clean your fucking office building, your office building wouldn't look very good, and your property value would decrease. So why is it that the people who clean it aren't worth shit? If you didn't have anybody to manicure your grounds, then your golf course wouldn't look as nice, and you wouldn't be able to charge as much, and you might lose members. So why is it that the people who are responsible for your aesthetics aren't worth the money, right? See, here's the thing. I'm getting into another rant now about immigration, but people talk about, in the US, okay, they talk about Mexican immigrants coming in and taking our jobs. And to that, I have two responses. One, are you employed? Do you have a job? Then shut the fuck up. They didn't take your job. Okay, that's my first response. My second response is they do jobs people here don't want to do. They do jobs that are not paid well enough for white people, pretty much, to do them, right? My uncle, by marriage, right? You look at me, I've been told I look ethnically ambiguous, but I'm white. My uncle is Hispanic. He's an American citizen. He was born here, but he is Hispanic. And his family, when he was growing up, were migrant farm workers. We rely heavily on migrant farm workers in this country to pick our fruit, to pick our vegetables, to pick the fucking avocados that you put on your toast, right? They don't get paid for shit. They have no protections. They get no money. They're largely migratory, right? They just move to where the work is. White people wouldn't stand for that shit. I can tell you right now. Do you know why there's no white people doing migrant farm work? I mean, look, there are some, okay? There are poor people here who are doing that work. I don't want to diminish them. But by and large, we're talking about labor that is done by immigrants to this country, by the underclass of this country. And if we paid them what their labor is worth, then your strawberries would be a lot more expensive. If you want to talk about people taking our jobs, which is bullshit, let me be very clear. The jobs they're taking are jobs that pay terribly. The work is hard and dangerous, and they are at risk at all times. They're not taking your job. They're doing the shit that you won't do because it's undignified. And I don't want to be a migrant farm worker. I have a lot of respect. Me and my partner went out and picked apples a couple days ago, and it was hot. It's September, okay, and it was hot. But we were out there for like 45 minutes, and it was for fun because we were gonna make an apple crisp with it. It was very tasty. We did. I can't imagine doing that for 8 hours, 10 hours a day, every day for like $4 an hour. And that's it. That's your life. Every day you're out there. You're up early, you're picking fruit, you're getting bit by bugs, you're getting sunburned. It's miserable. And that's your life. And you just pick fruit until you're done, and then you go somewhere else and do it. I don't know anybody who's had their job taken from that, right? Who wants to work as a janitor? Not a lot of people. You know who is willing to work as a janitor? People who generally don't have other options. And they don't get paid. They don't get paid the way they should. Line cooks, right? I just saw this a couple days ago. I know this video is long. I know I'm rambling here. But this is important. This is important to me. And it's my channel, so fuck it. Line cooks had I believe, 60% higher than expected mortality rate during COVID. So, if you expected that there would be 1,000 deaths, then there were 1,600. Okay, that's how that sort of shakes out. Do you know that most line cooks are immigrants? Their lives don't matter to us, right? They don't get paid well. A lot of those jobs are under the table. That work is dangerous, and particularly during COVID, that work was dangerous because so many of them died. They're not taking your fucking job. Okay? It's just racism. It's just pure racism is what that is. And now we're going to Puerto Rico, which is technically an American colony. I think officially it's a territory, not a colony, but it is a fucking colony. Now we are, instead of just saying you can't come here and have our jobs, we're going there and saying, guess what? You remember what the British did in India? We're doing that now. We're coming to your country. Well, we're coming to our country that we took by force from you, and now we let you live here. But we're coming in and we're moving you out. We did it to the Native Americans, and it worked really well. Look at how much land we have. Look at all the resources we have because of what we did to the Native Americans. And look, nobody talks about that anymore, so we're good. So now we're moving in. You know, our rich people need second homes. Our rich peoples need tax havens. So I'm sorry that you live here, but you don't anymore. And some guy you've never heard of, who you'll never meet, and who would not talk to you, he might allow you to be his house cleaner when he's not here. But, you know, you better not be around if his friends are here, right? Or if he's in town. You should be invisible. He owns where you used to live, and you are on the fucking street until you find somewhere else. It's really, 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 really sad and reprehensible. Okay. I am not somebody who thinks that everything America does is bad. I think that's a silly way to look at the world. But I am somebody who says a lot of what we have done is bad. And a lot of the things we're doing now are bad. And some of the things we're doing are good. Because the world is more complicated than just everything is bad or everything is good. But this is bad. And Logan Paul can get fucked. Right? I saw his face in there. And I have no respect for Logan Paul. Look, he's a hugely successful YouTuber and now a boxer or UFC boxer. Yeah. You know, his net worth is worth like 500 or 600 times mine. That's probably a low estimate. It's probably worth more than that. He doesn't give a shit what I have to say. And, you know, I'm not saying this like it's going to matter, but he's like 26, little white kid, and he's moving in and displacing people when he has enough money that he could do that here. All these fuckers have the money to live in the US. They just don't want to pay fucking taxes. And so because of that, because of their greed, because of their desire to keep what they have, some of them worked for it, some of them didn't. It doesn't matter to me. Because of the desire to keep what they have in contravention to what the law actually says they should here. Well, let's just move. Let's just move somewhere where the tax laws are more relaxed and it doesn't matter who gets hurt. Because I'm not thinking about the people that are getting hurt because I'm not thinking about them. I don't know that there are people that are getting hurt. I just know I want to keep more of my money. And look, my YouTube channel, pretty small, right? I don't expect that I will ever have the kind of money that would allow me to make these sorts of decisions. But God forbid that I ever lose track of what is important. Money, no money. Now, it's easy to say that when you have no money. It's easy to be on the side of the poor when you're poor, or even just slightly above poor. When you have tens of millions of dollars, you know, you have other thoughts in your head. That's why God said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to get into heaven. But God forbid that I lose track of the fact that at the end of the day, people are more valuable than money. People matter. Money will come and go. You know, lives, you can't replace a life. You can replace money, but you can't replace somebody's mom or kid or the home that like that guy mentioned. You got like 6 generations of people. And maybe it's a shitty home. Maybe the building is bad and broken down. Maybe it should be renovated. But you can't, the memories that you have of growing up there and your whole family being there for generations, and then you're displaced because some rich person doesn't like it. I think it should be a crime. That's what I think. Anyway, this is super long. I don't expect that this video will get a ton of attention. I hope it does. Not because I want my videos to do well. I mean, you know, it's always rewarding if people like what I have to say, but because this is important. This is important to me, and I want people to hear it. I can't make people watch it. I can't make people listen, and I can't make people agree with me. But I just felt like I should do this. And right now, the island is going through another tragedy with Fiona. I believe it's Hurricane Fiona. And people are going to die. And people are going to be displaced. And rich people are going to come in and they're going to buy up properties that were damaged in the storm. And they're going to turn them into a fucking Airbnb. And the cycle will continue. And more people will have to figure out what to do. With no money and no home to do it with. So anyway, that's my piece. Have a good day, everybody. If you can, find a way to get involved with the disaster relief effort, whether that's money or maybe it's volunteering. Maybe you can get to Puerto Rico and help with the cleanup. You know, you should do that. It's worth doing. Those people, their lives matter. And, you know, they are having a fucking hard time right now. So do what you can. I don't have any links to post. I would, you know, maybe I'll find one and put it in the description, but in general, you know, you can find them. You can Google it. Red Cross. You know, there are places that are providing funds and workers to take care of stuff, but do what you can. Have a good day, everybody. Stay safe out there. Drink lots of water and be nice to each other.